Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. Check out fresh UN directives on Nnamdi Kanu that make separatist agitation legitimate, Ejimako explains. Check out fresh UN directives on Nnamdi Kanu that makes separatist agitation legitimate, Ejimako explains. To my dear listeners from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news. Barrister Aloy Ejimako stated on Friday that the directive issued by the United Nations to Nigeria to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu with immediate effect affirms that separatist agitation is legal and that referendum is a legitimate tool for settling it. Hence, Ejimako made the statement in response to the directive issued by the United Nations. In a report that was submitted 3 weeks ago, the United Nations Working Group on Human Rights recommended that Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, be freed. The report also stated that Kanu was acting within his right when he called for a referendum to determine whether or not the sovereign state of Biafra should be established. The government of Nigeria has him behind up at the moment on allegations that he skipped bail in 2017 and ran a terrorist organization while also committing treason. In August of last year, the combined forces of Nigeria and Kenya kidnapped him from Kenya and brought him to Nigeria. This method, according to the opinions of some legal experts, violated international laws. However, a high court in Umuahia came to the conclusion that Kanu had not evaded his bail conditions and awarded damages against the federal government. Barrister Aloy Ejimako, Kanu's special attorney, was the one who initially filed the lawsuit. Ejimako told our correspondent that a referendum was held in Nigeria, which resulted in the separation of the Southern Cameroon region from Nigeria but led to Nigeria maintaining Adamawa as a part of the country. Ejimako was explaining the implications of the United Nations directives regarding Kanu. However, if he is to be believed, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar would not have been in Nigeria had the referendum not taken place. According to him, Nigeria got Adamawa through referendum, but it lost Southern Cameroon. Nobody was detained, assassinated, or extraordinarily renditioned during this process. It was the referendum that gave Abubakar Atiku citizenship, and it is still the referendum that could give him the presidency. The Midwest region was initially established in 1964 as a result of a vote in a referendum. This is all within Nigeria, not counting the many nations that were created through referendums such as Eritrea, Kosovo, or South Sudan, the author says. This is all within Nigeria. The issue is not with the separatist movement. IPOB or Nnamdi Kanu, the problem is the erroneous militaristic approach to it, which rather than confining it, is actually confirming the agitation and causing convulsions throughout the Southeast Africa and Nigeria on top of that. According to the findings, a plebiscite held in February 1961 under the supervision of the United Nations led to the union of the southern half of Cameroon with the former territory of French Cameroon, which resulted in the formation of the Federal Republic of Cameroon. Barrister Aloy Ejimako stated on Friday that the directive issued by the United Nations to Nigeria to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu with immediate effect affirms that separatist agitation is legal and that referendum is a legitimate tool for settling it. Hence, Ejimako made the statement in response to the directive issued by the United Nations. In a report that was submitted 3 weeks ago, the United Nations Working Group on Human Rights recommended that Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, be freed. The report also stated that Kanu was acting within his right when he called for a referendum to determine whether or not the sovereign state of Biafra should be established. The government of Nigeria has been behind up at the moment on allegations that he skipped bail in 2017 and ran a terrorist organization while also committing treason. In August of last year, the combined forces of Nigeria and Kenya kidnapped him from Kenya and brought him to Nigeria. This method, according to the opinions of some legal experts, violated international laws. So my dear listeners, now I've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by at the comment section